The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zexthor of the Krillian Empire slammed his three-fisted appendage against the crystalline podium. His translucent skin flushed a deep crimson, a clear sign of aggression among his species. 3,000 years, he bellowed, his voice echoing through the vast dome. 3,000 years of peace, and you humans dare to expand into Sector 47? This is an act of war. The assembled representatives from 200 alien civilizations murmured in agreement. The Vexorians clicked their mandibles nervously. The Helian Collective's energy forms pulsed with anticipation. Even the ancient Ithkara, who had witnessed the birth of galaxies, nodded their massive heads solemnly. At the human delegation seats, Ambassador Chen leaned back in her chair and smiled. Beside her, General Harrison chuckled softly, earning confused glances from the nearby Torvian delegates. "Do you find this amusing, human?" Zexthor demanded, his voice dripping with venom. "We offer you one final chance to withdraw, or face the combined might of the Galactic Alliance. 200 worlds united against one." Chen stood slowly, her movements casual, almost lazy. She adjusted her jacket and walked to the podium with the easy confidence of someone who had seen this dance before. Or at least, someone whose ancestors had recorded every step. "Ambassador Zexthor," she began, her voice calm and measured. "I apologize if our expansion has concerned you, but I'm afraid there's been a fundamental misunderstanding." The alien ambassador's eyes narrowed. "There is no misunderstanding. You violate the concordative boundaries. You shall withdraw or you shall be destroyed." "The misunderstanding," Chen continued, ignoring the threat, "is about what you call the 3,000-year peace." She tapped her wrist console, and a holographic display materialized above the council floor. It showed a timeline stretching back 3 millennia. "You see, 3,000 years ago, humanity joined the galactic community. We were welcomed with open arms, or tentacles, or energy fields, as the case may be. We were told of the Great Peace, how the galaxy had finally achieved harmony after eons of conflict." The display zoomed in on Earth, showing humanity's rapid integration into galactic society. Cities rose. Technology advanced. Humans spread across their solar system. "What we weren't told," Chen said, her smile growing wider, "was why the peace had begun. So being humans, we did what we do best. We researched. We dug through archives. We asked uncomfortable questions." The hologram shifted, showing ancient records, battle reports, historical documents. "Turns out the peace didn't begin because everyone suddenly decided to get along. It began because you all fought a war so devastating that it nearly destroyed the galaxy. The Extinction Wars, you called them. 500 years of total warfare. Billions dead. Entire star systems sterilized. Civilizations reduced to scattered refugees." Uncomfortable shuffling rippled through the chamber. Several ambassadors refused to meet Chen's gaze. "And do you know what we found most interesting?" she continued. "At the casualty reports. In 500 years of warfare, you lost approximately 8 billion sentient beings across 200 civilizations." She paused, letting the number sink in. "Humanity lost more than that in our 20th century alone. In 100 years. On one planet." The chamber erupted in disbelief. Translators struggled to keep up with the cacophony of alien languages. "Impossible!" Zexthor shouted. "No species could sustain such losses and survive." "Not only did we survive," General Harrison interjected, standing beside Chen. "We thrived. Ambassador, you call this a peace. We call this a break between rounds. You've had 3,000 years without war. We've never had more than a few decades at most." He gestured to the hologram, which now displayed images from human history. Ancient battles, medieval sieges, world wars. The screen became a cascade of human conflict. We've been at war with ourselves for our entire existence. We've fought over land, resources, ideologies, and gods. We've invented weapons that could destroy our planet 1,000 times over, and we've come within minutes of using them, multiple times. The Vaxorian delegate spoke up, her voice trembling. Then you are monsters, warmongers. This only proves we must stop you now before you spread your violence across the stars." Chen shook her head. "You misunderstand again. We're not telling you this to frighten you, well, not entirely. We're telling you this because you need to understand something fundamental about humanity." She walked closer to the assembled delegates, her expression serious now. "We know war. We know its cost. We've paid it 1,000,000 times over. And because we know it so intimately, we've spent the last 3,000 years doing everything in our power to avoid bringing it to the stars. We've followed every rule, respected every boundary, negotiated every dispute. Except Sector 47, Zexthor insisted. Sector 47, Chen replied calmly, was unclaimed territory under Article 47B of the Concordat. We filed the proper claims. We waited the required period. No one objected, until now when we've actually begun development. She turned to face the entire council. But let's say we're wrong. Let's say this is genuinely a violation. You want war? Fine. Let me tell you what that means. The hologram changed again, showing schematics, battle plans, strategic analyses that made several delegates recoil. Humanity has spent 3,000 years preparing for a war we prayed would never come. While you enjoyed your peace, we studied every conflict in galactic history. We analyzed your tactics, your technologies, your weaknesses. We've run 1 billion simulations. We've built weapons you can't imagine, drawing on a military history that spans our entire existence. General Harrison stepped forward. The Krillian Empire has 400 warships, impressive. Humanity has 40,000, and every single one is crewed by people who come from a world that's been at war with itself for 10,000 years. Your soldiers train for 5 years. Ours grow up in societies that have been perfecting warfare since we lived in caves. This is madness, the Ithkara elder whispered, his ancient voice filled with something that might have been fear. No, Chen said softly. This is humanity. And here's the thing you need to understand. We don't want this war. We've seen what war does. We've lost billions to it. We know the cost in blood and tears and broken civilizations. She looked directly at Zexthor. So here's our counteroffer. We'll submit Sector 47 to neutral arbitration. If the Council rules against us, we'll withdraw. Not because we're afraid of you, but because we're terrified of ourselves. Because we know that if this war begins, we won't stop until we've won. And none of you want to see what humanity looks like when we stop playing nice. The chamber was silent. Finally, Zexthor spoke, his voice barely a whisper. Arbitration is acceptable. As the delegates filed out, still stunned, the Ithkara elder approached Chen. Tell me, Ambassador, he said quietly, would you truly have gone to war over this? Chen met his ancient gaze. No, Elder, but we would have ended it. There's a difference. The old being nodded slowly. Perhaps, he said. That is why you humans chuckle at our threats. You have already survived what would have destroyed any of us. Perhaps, Chen agreed. Or perhaps we laugh because the alternative is to cry. 3,000 years you've had peace. May you have 3,000 more because, trust me, you don't want to see what comes after. She walked away, leaving the elder to contemplate a disturbing truth. The galaxy's 3,000-year peace hadn't been kept by the strongest civilizations, but by the mercy of the deadliest one. And that civilization had chosen peace not because it feared war, but because it understood it far too well.